There's a bulldozer in Australia that's been running for 72 years. It's outlasted 6 replacements that were supposed to retire it. The original owner is dead, his son is dead, his grandson now operates it, and it still starts on the first crank every single morning. Here's the thing, nobody wants to admit, we don't build them like we used to. And I'm not talking about romantic nostalgia. I'm talking about hard data, maintenance logs, and bulldozers that have worked continuously for half a century while their modern superior replacements are rusting in scrapyards after 15 years. The construction industry has a dirty secret. Planned obsolescence isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a business model. But there are machines that refuse to die. Machines built when a company's reputation depended on durability, not quarterly earnings. Today, we're counting down 10 old bulldozers that embarrassed every machine built to replace them. These aren't museum pieces, these are working machines, proving newer isn't always better. Number 10. The Allis-Chalmers HD21, Milwaukee, 1963. Allis-Chalmers releases the HD21, a 53,000-pound beast with 320 horsepower and a reputation that would define an era. The HD21 wasn't the biggest or most powerful, but it was indestructible. The secret? Simplicity. While competitors added complex systems, Allis-Chalmers stuck with proven technology. The power shift transmission was so reliable mechanics called it boring, the highest compliment in heavy equipment. The straight-six diesel ran on tolerances loose enough to handle contaminated fuel and poor maintenance. Farmers discovered they could run these on filtered waste oil in a pinch. One HD21 in Montana was purchased new in 1965 for land clearing. The ranch sold in 1983, the bulldozer stayed. Sold again in 2001, bulldozer stayed. Sold again in 2019, same story. 3 owners have come and gone. The HD21 is still pushing trees. The current owner says they've replaced the seat 4 times and rebuilt the engine twice, but the main frame, transmission, and hydraulics? Original. Over 45,000 operating hours, still working 6 days a week. Meanwhile, their modern replacement from 2005 lasted 11 years before catastrophic transmission failure. The HD21 attended its funeral and went back to work the next morning. Why did they last? Because Allis-Chalmers built them when manufacturers competed on durability, not features. No computers, no sensors, no proprietary software, just steel, diesel, and determination. Number 9. The International Harvester TD25, Chicago, 1958. International Harvester wasn't primarily known for construction equipment, but when they built the TD25, they applied agricultural philosophy, build it so simple a farmer can fix it in a field with hand tools. The TD25 featured a 310 horsepower diesel that was essentially a scaled-up tractor engine. Genius. Every small-town mechanic in America knew how to work on International Harvester engines. No specialized training, no proprietary tools, just wrenches and common sense. The torque converter transmission was built with so much redundancy it could lose half its pressure and still operate. One TD25 in Kansas ran for 3 years with a known hydraulic leak because it kept working anyway. The TD25 was the bulldozer that built the interstate highway system. During the massive highway expansion of the 1960s and 70s, TD25s did the grunt work. They weren't glamorous or fast, but they showed up every day and moved dirt while fancier machines broke down. One TD25 on Interstate 70 through Colorado operated continuously from 1961 to 1979, 18 years of Rocky Mountain abuse. When the project ended, it was sold to a mining company and worked another 23 years before the frame finally cracked. There's a TD25 in Alaska that's never been inside a heated shop in 64 years. It sits outside in -40 winters. The routine: pour warm water over the engine, hit the glow plugs, crank. It starts every time. Why do they last? Because International Harvester didn't overthink it. They built a tractor engine strong enough for a bulldozer, wrapped it in heavy steel, and shipped it. Number 8. The Caterpillar D9G, Peoria, Illinois, 1958. Caterpillar releases the D8H, and it becomes the standard by which all bulldozers are measured for 3 decades. The D8H had 270 horsepower, direct drive transmission, and a design philosophy prioritizing repairability over innovation. Every major component could be removed and rebuilt in the field without specialized equipment. What made the D8H special was the parts ecosystem. Caterpillar built these in such quantities that parts availability became self-sustaining. Even today, 67 years later, you can still source genuine D8H components. One D8H in Saudi Arabia has been clearing the same desert highway for 43 years. The highway keeps getting buried by sand. The D8H keeps clearing it. They've tried newer equipment. It can't handle abrasive sand and extreme heat. The D8H just runs. There's a D8H in Australia at a gold mine with over 78,000 operating hours, 9 years of continuous operation. The mine has purchased 4 replacement dozers during this time. All 4 are now scrap. The D8H is still on the schedule. The mine superintendent admits they keep trying to retire it, but every time a newer machine goes down, the D8H picks up the slack. It's slower, uses more fuel, but it's there. Every day, you can't put a price on reliability. The D8H represents peak Caterpillar, when they dominated because they built machines that refused to quit. Later models were more powerful and efficient, but contractors who've worked with both will tell you, given a choice between a 1965 D8H and a 2010 D8H, they'll take the old one. Why? Because newer Cat dozers have DEF systems, electronic controls and sensors that fail in dusty conditions. The old D8H has diesel, hydraulics, and an overbuilt transmission. When it breaks, you need a mechanic with a wrench, not a technician with a laptop. Number 7. The Fiat-Allis FD30. Turin, Italy, 1968. Fiat-Allis creates the FD30, bringing European engineering to bulldozer design, elegant simplicity with mechanical redundancy. The FD30 featured a 375 horsepower diesel that was frankly over-engineered. Fiat built these engines to tolerances making them nearly bulletproof. The hydraulic system was equally overbuilt with filtration so aggressive contamination was almost impossible. What made the FD30 different? It was designed for repair, not replacement. The entire powertrain could be removed as a unit, rebuilt and reinstalled in 2 days. Fiat-Allis published full schematics and didn't require proprietary tools. One FD30 in Brazil has been working at a sugarcane plantation since 1972, 53 years. It's not the original engine or transmission anymore, but the frame, hydraulics, and fundamental structure are still 1972 factory specifications. The plantation has tried modern replacements 3 times. Each lasted 10 to 15 years before humid climate corrosion made them uneconomical to repair. The FD30 just gets rebuilt again and again. There's an FD30 in Egypt working construction around Cairo that's famous among operators. They call it El Qadim, the ancient one. Working since the hour meter broke in 1989 and was never replaced. Why bother? It runs. The Egyptian crew treats it like a classic car. Constant small maintenance instead of running to failure. They change oil religiously, grease every fitting, replace wear components before failure. The FD30 rewards them with legendary reliability. Meanwhile, 2 replacement bulldozers from the 1990s and 2000s sit in the yard with the electronic failures costing more to fix than the machines are worth. El Qadim keeps working. Number 6. The John Deere 8500, Mullen, Illinois, 1979. John Deere enters the serious bulldozer market with the 850, bringing their agricultural philosophy. Build it strong enough for farmers who can't afford downtime. The 8050 had a John Deere 8.1-liter diesel producing 215 horsepower. Not impressive by bulldozer standards, but that engine was legendary. Same basic design used in combines and tractors with millions of field-tested hours before going into a bulldozer. The power shift transmission was deliberately overbuilt, sized for a machine 50% heavier than the 850 actually was. Why? Because farmers don't baby equipment. One 8050 in Iowa was purchased in 1980 for clearing timber and building terraces. The farmer died in 2004. His son inherited the farm and bulldozer, still using it today. 45 years, one family, still working. They've rebuilt the engine once at 22,000 hours. The transmission has never been opened. Hydraulic pump replaced in 2012. That's it. Everything else is maintenance and wear components. The kicker? They bought a modern replacement in 2018. Within 3 years, hydraulic failures, electronic issues, transmission problems, repair costs exceeded $85,000. They sold it at a loss and went back to the 850. There's an 850 in New Zealand at a forestry operation, with over 35,000 hours since 1981. The company has tried replacing it 4 times. Every replacement failed faster than the 850 degraded. The foreman says the 85 is slower and less efficient, but has one critical advantage. When you push start, it starts. When you push a log, it pushes. No computers, no sensors, no failures. Number 5. The Komatsu D155A. Japan, 1975. Komatsu is breaking into markets dominated by Caterpillar and needs to prove Japanese engineering can handle heavy-duty construction. The D155A was their answer, a 410 horsepower monster built to standards that shocked American competitors. The Komatsu SA-12 diesel was obscenely overbuilt, components sized for loads far exceeding normal operation. Japanese manufacturing demanded precision. Tolerances were tighter. Materials were higher grade. Quality control was obsessive. The result was a bulldozer that felt more refined while being just as tough. One D155A in Papua New Guinea has been working at a copper mine since 1977. 48 years of tropical heat, torrential rain, and abuse. The mine has tried replacing it 6 times. All 6 replacements are scrap. The D155A runs. Why? Komatsu built it during their prove ourselves era. They couldn't compete on reputation, so they competed on quality. Every field failure was a marketing disaster, so they built them not to fail. There's a D155A in Chile at a high-altitude mine operating at over 14,000 feet. Thin air kills diesel engines. The D155A has been at this elevation since 1979. 3 engine rebuilds, still working while newer machines struggle. The D155A in Australia's outback has legendary status. Working at a remote cattle station since 1976, building roads across terrain, destroying normal equipment. The station is so remote that breakdowns mean weeks waiting for parts. The D155A has broken down 3 times in 49 years. 3 times. The owner inherited it from his father, who bought it new. This machine is why I buy Komatsu. Nothing else has come close. Number 4. The Case 1150 Crawler. Racine, Wisconsin. Case builds the 1150 with a simple goal. Create a mid-size machine, tough enough for construction and simple enough for farmers. The 1150 featured a Case 504 diesel. A design so reliable, Case used variations across their product line for decades. The torque converter transmission had so much redundancy, it could lose significant pressure and still function. But what made the 1150 special was accessibility. Everything was designed for easy maintenance. Wide opening hood, access panels, easy change filters. Case designed this for owners doing their own maintenance. One 1150 in North Dakota was purchased in 1973 for terraces and snow clearing. That farmer is now 89. He still owns it. It still runs. 52 years. Original owner. Never been on a trailer. Drives under its own power to jobs. The machine has 18,000 hours. Transmission never opened. Engine rebuilt once in 1995. The farmer does all maintenance himself. If I can't fix it with a wrench and a manual, I don't want it. There's a 150 in Alaska pushing snow for the state highway since 1972, working winters at -20 FF average. The state tried replacing it 4 times. None lasted 8 years before cold destroyed electronics or cracked parts. The 1150 has no electronics. No sensors, nothing to freeze and fail. Pure mechanical equipment designed for this abuse. A Wyoming 1150 has been at a coal mine since 19. The coal dust destroys air filters in days. This 1150 has outlasted 9 replacements. They keep trying to retire it, but replacements fail faster than the 1150 degrades. Number 3. The Caterpillar D9G, Peoria, Illinois, 1974. Caterpillar releases the D9G, a 410 horsepower giant that would become the most legendary bulldozer ever built. The D9G wasn't revolutionary, it was evolutionary perfection. Decades of design refined to absolute peak. The Cat D353 diesel was legendary. The direct drive transmission was proven technology with no experimental components. What made the D9G legendary? Caterpillar got everything right simultaneously. Perfect weight distribution, robust hydraulics without overcomplication, ideal power-to-weight ratio, a bulldozer in perfect balance. One D9G in Israel has been working since 1976. 49 years of desert heat, abrasive sand, and constant operation. The Israeli Defense Forces tried replacing it multiple times. All replacements are gone. The D9G still works. Israeli mechanics say the D9G represents the last generation before computers. Everything is mechanical or hydraulic. When it breaks, they can fix it. Modern dozers need specialized diagnostics and proprietary software. There's a D9G in Canada at oil sands since 1978. Tar sands are incredibly abrasive. This D9G has had 6 complete rebuilds, but each costs less than buying new. The frame and structure are still solid. The manager says they've purchased 7 newer bulldozers to replace it. All 7 are scrap within 10 years. The D9G gets rebuilt and keeps working. We stopped trying to replace it. Now we just budget for rebuilds. The D9G represents peak Caterpillar, the culmination of evolution before the industry shifted toward computerization. Later, Cat dozers are more powerful and efficient, but contractors know the D9G was the best bulldozer Caterpillar ever built. Number 2. The Allis-Chalmers HD41, Milwaukee, 1960. Allis-Chalmers builds the HD41, a massive 524 horsepower brute for the biggest, toughest jobs on Earth. The HD41 wasn't just big, it was built to standards seeming excessive today. The main frame was steel plate, so thick welders joked it could be a bank vault. The transmission was sized for loads far exceeding engine output. Everything was overbuilt by margins, making no economic sense. But Allis-Chalmers wasn't thinking economics, they were thinking reputation. The HD41 was their flagship. Every failure would be public embarrassment. One HD41 in Wyoming was purchased in 1962 for coal mining. That mine closed in The HD41 was sold to another mine that closed in Sold again. Still working, 63 years and 3 mine lifetimes. The current owner says it has over 92,000 operating hours. 4 complete engine rebuilds, 3 transmission overhauls. But the frame, hydraulics, and fundamental structure are original. This thing will outlive me. Probably outlive my kids. There's an HD41 in Nevada that worked highway construction from 1961 to 1989. Then sold to mining where it's worked since. 64 continuous years. The machine has outlasted the company that built it. Parts availability should have killed these decades ago, but HD41 owners formed networks sharing specifications and fabricating custom parts. Machinists built entire businesses keeping HD41s running. An HD41 in Australia is so famous, operators come from other states to see it. Working the same quarry since 1963, 62 years. The quarry tried modern replacements 8 times, all 8 are scrap. The HD41 keeps pushing rock. Number 1. The International Harvester TD40, Chicago, 1959. International Harvester releases the TD40, a colossus that would become legendary not for power, but for its absolute refusal to die. The TD40 was powered by a massive 500 horsepower diesel, essentially a locomotive engine adapted for mobile use. This was industrial machinery disguised as a bulldozer. The genius was in philosophy. International Harvester built farm tractors, and farmers demand durability above all. The TD40 was built to farming standards, hilariously overbuilt for construction work. Every component was sized for loads exceeding anything the machine would encounter. The transmission could handle twice the engine's output. The hydraulics were designed for pressures never reached. The frame was steel plate thick enough to stop bullets. One TD40 in Montana was purchased in 1961 for mine reclamation. That work is still ongoing. The same TD40 is still doing it. 64 years. Same machine, same job. The current crew says it has over 106,000 operating hours, 12 years of continuous operation, 5 complete engine rebuilds, 3 transmission overhauls, countless hydraulic replacements. But the machine fundamentally works the same as 1960. They've tried replacing it 6 times. The longest any replacement lasted was 14 years. The TD40 has outlasted all of them. There's a TD40 in Alaska purchased in 1960 for pipeline construction, working in the Arctic ever since. 65 years of extreme cold and brutal conditions. Never been inside a heated building. Sits outside in -50 winters. The maintenance routine: warm the engine with fire, literally fire. Hit the glow plugs, crank. It starts every time. Operators call it the immortal because nothing kills it. A TD40 in Brazil has worked at a sugarcane plantation since 19. The plantation owner keeps detailed records showing the TD40 has cost less in total lifetime maintenance than any 3 modern replacements cost in their short lives. The TD40 represents the absolute peak of over-engineering. A machine built so tough, so simple, so robust that it transcends its era and continues working decades beyond reasonable expectation. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.